Today was the first official congressional meeting on Doge, led by Marjorie Taylor Greene. She walks us through her first initial attack is on USAID, shutting it down, on all the pork and waste, basically calling it a giant Democrat slush fund. It's a tiny percentage of our budget, by the way, but has gotten a lot of press because that was the first strike of Doge. Let's watch Marjorie Taylor Greene. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel.
Good morning. I want to welcome everyone today to today's Doge subcommittee hearing on U.S. foreign aid. This hearing comes at an important time, a time where all of us are witnessing billions of dollars in taxpayer waste, fraud, and abuse being exposed across every agency of our federal government. It comes at a time where oversight of U.S. foreign aid has uncovered billions of dollars that have been weaponized in furtherance of globalist far-left ideologies. The American people want change. The American people voted for change. The American people have spoken that they no longer wish to be enslaved by the bureaucracy's agenda of undermining U.S. interest abroad.
No matter what you think of USAID, no matter what you think of how much we help other countries, this is paid for by us. This is our tax dollars. Billions of it, by the way, being wasted. Billions of it going against our will. Whether if it's right or wrong or whatever it is, they have to get our permission to do it. And there's this sense that just by default, all of our money has been pouring into all this foreign aid. Not just foreign aid, don't think of little starving, hungry children. Of course, that's part of it also. But what they do is they use that as a shield, the starving children as a shield, and they end up funding all of the corruption. USAID funded Politico, CNN, the BBC, influencing foreign elections, trans surgeries in other countries, drag queen operas and musicals in other countries, promoting atheism in other countries, condoms in Gaza and all that. Just so you know, it's not just a bunch of starving children. We're done with this stuff.
In 2023 alone, Americans privately donated over $557 billion of their own money. Corporations donated over $37 billion. Foundations donated over $103 billion. That is incredible of the American people. In 2023, nearly 76 million Americans, almost 30% of Americans, formally volunteered through an organization. Volunteered. The government did not make them do that. They did this on their own. Donating and volunteering time is what supports schools and shelters, hospitals and hotlines, food banks, and more across only our country. Not only our country, but across the world. Ask anyone in Western North Carolina.
Yeah, we're the volunteer state here in Tennessee. We even go right into Dalton, Georgia, and help Marjorie Taylor's districts. We help with widows' housing and all that, poor people. We'll be asking you guys to fund it later this summer. That's my missionary trip that I go with my family every year. But Marjorie Taylor Greene's talking about something important, which is the generosity and goodwill and good works should come from individual Americans. We already volunteer our time, and they should let us keep more of our money. Because what it does is when you give money to the government and you let them do your good works for you, you're basically saying, I don't want to work or take my money, but just don't take my time. Don't take my life. Take the money and my taxes. And then the government performs its good works that an atheist government thinks is right, or a globalist government thinks is right, or 90% Democrat state workers think is right. And then they turn around and give their contributions to the Democrat Party, which makes it a political slush fund. I'll keep my money, cut my taxes, and I'll go do good works. We volunteer already. The beloved Miss TenNapel has given gallons and gallons of blood. That is, everywhere that they look at who's giving what, conservatives and Christians, by the way, give more than any other sector in America. So let us keep our taxes and we'll go do our good works. I don't need my government to be the do-gooder of the world. We will do good.
Whether it be individuals, churches, or businesses, the American people are the most generous people in the entire world. and I'm so proud of that. They should be the ones who decide where their money goes. They can choose if they want to donate to a charity, a school, a church, or a nonprofit. They can choose if they want to privately donate to a transgender salon in Mumbai. They can choose if they want to privately donate to the British Broadcasting Corporation. They can choose if they want to privately donate to the Wuhan Institute of Virology through EcoHealth Alliance, or to electric vehicles in Vietnam, or to changing the national census in Bangladesh.
So this is a huge philosophical change. I just can't underscore that enough. She is undermining the entire idea of taking taxes from you and paying for stuff that you should be able to do with your own free will and your own free time, and let you keep your money. We'll go do our good works. We'll take care of the whole world. We send missionaries. We've always sent missionaries. We personally fund the Franklin Graham Samaritan's Purse and giving Christmas boxes to kids in other countries. We'll do it. It's not the government's job to be Jesus to the world. It is individuals' job to go be Jesus to the world. Don't rob us of our good works.
To be more gender inclusive. That is something they should be able to choose. That is something they should never be forced to do by our government. The Democrat-run USAID should not get to use our federal government, our U.S. taxpayer dollars, as their party piggy bank to push their radical agenda in countries that we have no business giving money to. 96% of all political contributions from USAID employees go to Democrat Party candidates or PACs.
That makes it a slush fund. That makes it money laundering. That is, they take your tax dollars from Republicans, conservatives, anti-Democrats, and that money goes into USAID, and then 90% of their money is donated to the Democrat Party. That's why Democrats don't want Doge and Marjorie Taylor Greene to go in and fix USAID. This is how they bolster their fake party. We've been exposing this now for weeks. The entire Democrat Party is fake. It is not a free market, true institution, true political party that reflects the will of the people. This is government, puts a gun to your head and makes you pay taxes under threat of jail. And then the individual employees know they give 90% to the Democrat Party.
That's 96%. Not only is USAID giving $70,000 for a DEI musical in Ireland, or $50,000 for transgender opera in Colombia, or to entrench their left-wing ideology across the globe, USAID has been transformed into an America Last foreign aid slush fund to prop up extremist groups, implement censorship campaigns, and interfere in foreign elections to force regime change around the world. That is the dark truth about USAID. That is the story the American people deserve to know.
By the way, Democrats don't think it's a dark truth. They think it's wonderful to expand leftist ideas, Marxism, globalism around the world. That's their whole agenda. That's why but this is not what Americans voted for.
Not only was USAID never designed to be what it has morphed into, but these things should never have been funded in the first place. In fiscal year 2023, USAID dispersed roughly $44 billion of aid across 160 countries and regions around the world. During the 4 years of the Biden administration, 181 countries received approximately $240 billion in U.S. development aid, with Ukraine being the top recipient. Other top recipients include Ethiopia, Jordan, Israel, and Somalia.
180. By the way, those countries, there's a huge danger in bolstering a country. You know, many of these are Muslim countries, only 3 of which are even democracies that take a vote. And we're funding those countries, aid in those countries. One of the things that giving them money does, because they enjoy the fruits of a free America. Our money comes from our freedom. There's no other form of freedom like America in the world. So there's no amount of money being made in the world like in America. And then we go and we give the fruits to pagan, fallen, criminal countries, and then they never have to reform. Their people never have to change. They never have to do better because they receive the fruits of a free country. So they never have to be free. So it actually ends up being a cover-up, a mask, a bolster of lies around the world in other countries so that they don't have to actually face reality and change and become free, like America, which might actually turn their markets around. So we're trying to reward bad behavior and cover up for the awful fruits of terrible regimes by giving them our fruits from being a good free country.
So after hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars have been distributed throughout the world, has the world become safer?
No.
No. Has the world become more stable?
No.
No. Is the perception of the United States around the globe any better? No. But have some of the most anti-democratic principles like censorship and the canceling of elections been funded through USAID because of opposition to the ruling regimes? Yes. Has money through USAID been funneled to terrorists? Yes.
That's a graphic, and you can see on the tent behind them the logo USAID used on the tarps that they use to cover up these little tents.
Foreign aid from USAID to the UN, particularly the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees in the Near East, is directly funding Hamas terrorists. Humanitarian relief intended for the Afghan people was diverted to the Taliban. Money intended to support democracy is being used as a slush fund for liberal propaganda supporting terrorist, gender ideology, diversity, equity, and inclusion, climate activism, censorship, and regime change.
They're basically funding everything but what America is about. It's funding Democrat anti-Americanism, including we're funding Hamas, a terrorist group. This is what happens. And Hamas isn't going to distribute, when they say, we want USAID, we want USAID. Our people are starving. Israel's making us starve. They're so mean, and America won't help. And then you give the money and you bring in the aid. They bring in food trucks and they show their army, their corrupt military terrorists, take the aid, take the trucks away from the people that are starving and drive it straight into their military compound. Same thing happens in Africa. We have compassion for starving kids around the world, but you know why the starving kids don't get our mountains of aid? Because they're corrupt, militarized, warring guerrilla fighters take the food for their own army. They're not giving it to the poor. That's not their values. That might be our values and our intent, but that's not what happens. We're trying to feed people, and the food never gets to them.
Do you think this is what the American people think of when they think of foreign aid? Absolutely not. Taxpayer funds have literally been used to undermine U.S. interest and counter American foreign policy goals under the guise of foreign aid. This is unacceptable, and the American people agree. Thankfully, President Trump has taken action to address these issues. The election of President Trump was a clear mandate by the American people that they will no longer tolerate this. He is putting an end to the foreign aid slush fund, ensuring the hard-working American taxpayers' dollars are supporting America First policies and taking care of our own people at home.
Now that is radical. Who can be against that?
And we will do the same.
Good. Thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm going to find out what they actually do, what they actually cut. Hopefully they cut all of USAID. They need to start over, crush it, and then go find the emergencies that you need to fund, and then usher it through and make sure there's accountability that actually gets to the people that we're targeting. A whole lot of money and aid went to Ukraine.
And this committee, based on this hearing and witness testimonies, will consider recommending investigations and criminal referrals. When Joe Biden was president, his son Hunter was on the board of a Ukrainian energy company called Burisma. The prosecutor general of Ukraine at the time, Viktor Shokin, was investigating Burisma for corruption. Biden threatened, and it's on video, to withhold $1 billion of USAID grant to Ukraine if Shokin wasn't fired. Mr. Primorak, Is USAID supposed to be used as leverage by a president to protect his son?
No, we call that corruption.
And we did zero audit and zero accountability. And Ukraine is known for its corrupt money laundering. And there's people, warlords over there making millions off of our efforts. So they're not there just, oh, save our people and save democracy. That's the shield. Save our starving children. That's the shield. They'll only play that to tug at your heart. So the heart tugging, I'm done with. Quit it. You're manipulating and gaslighting us. How about you go reform your own budgets, conduct an audit so that we have confidence that any aid to help some starving person actually helps them. And maybe let Americans decide for ourselves who we want to help. I'm Doug in exile. Hats off to Marjorie Taylor Greene.